idea?
This is like a murder, but you guys are calling it a murder?
Yeah, for the investigation of that.
I didn't mean to kill her.
They have witnesses to almost every part of the crime, and officers knew that Dan had been picked up the previous night.
Have you met Ashlee's mom before?
I haven't met her dad, stepdad, or him.
Well, they are both dead.
I was starting to think I dated a psychotic.
War Baby here with a quick fact about our nation's health. Did you know that 90% of Americans fall short of FDA-recommended guidelines for at least one vitamin or nutrient? Well, good news. Head over and take Care of's fun 5-minute online quiz and get the vitamins you need to get back on track and reach your health goals. Your vitamins get delivered right to your door in personalized, easy-to-remember daily packs, perfect for a busy on-the-go lifestyle. I am still loving my astaxanthin and have noticed clearer skin, a clearer head, and even a bit better athletic performance in my workouts. And I'm thoroughly enjoying my Extra Batteries Quick Sticks every day. They've replaced my daytime Crystal Light packets, cans of energy drinks and iced coffees, while helping me increase my daily water intake, all with a delicious flavor at a fraction of what I usually spend. What more could I ask for? For 25% off your first month of personalized Care of vitamins, visit takecareof.com and enter promo code KillerKids. Vegan and vegetarian supplement options available to match your dietary needs. And your monthly subscription box can be easily modified at any time. That's takecareof.com, promo code KillerKids for 25% off your first month and be on your way to feeling great today. Her first attempt at telling the story was quickly proven untrue by investigators, as they already had spoken to the sisters and had a timeline of events that they were confident in. But Ashlee continued to deny that she had shot her stepdad, saying that her mother had, and that they had struggled over the knife, ending with her mother being stabbed. They found this version hard to believe because Jennifer had at least 30 stab wounds to her body. A bloody knife had been located in the upstairs bathroom with multiple strands of hair intertwined. This had been a vicious attack. She had no explanation. Eventually, the closest version of her truth emerged.
I was supposed to move out in with one of my friends. So I was all packed up and ready to go that day. My stepdad stopped me. Work and school was my freedom. He was going to take it all away. I was going to be 100% imprisoned in that house. And I believed him. I was sitting on my bed. And I even had the end of it in my mouth, playing with the trigger. And then I heard my stepdad. I was scared of him. I am pressing with his gun, one of his precious belongings. And I thought he was going to snap on me. And I just reacted. I raised the gun and I pulled the trigger. And I started running down the stairs until I was on the first landing. And that's when I saw my mom. She ended up grabbing a decorative knife that was on a shelf. And the next thing I knew, the knife was in my leg. It was like a movie reel went off inside my head. I should have had memories of all the bad things that happened to me, that she put me through. And I remember stabbing her once and twice. And then I black out. And the next thing I know, there's blood everywhere.
Here's where their stories differ. Ashlee says that when she looked up, she saw Thomas Ayers' body and got scared all over again. She said that's when she fired the second shot, although her sisters reported 2 shots close together.
And seeing him scared me more. I thought he was going to get up and he was going to see what I did. I was scared what he was going to do. I remember pointing the tip of the gun against his head, and I pulled the trigger. But in that moment, I felt the chains break around me. I was free. First time in my life, I felt that I was free. He couldn't hurt my sisters anymore. He couldn't hurt me anymore. He couldn't hurt anyone.
Upon returning downstairs to lock the girls in their room, she told them they were playing a game. Ashlee Martinson, just days after turning 17, had just confessed to killing her mom and stepdad. The detective offered her a hug, and she held on to him and cried for a full 5 minutes.
That was probably the first time I felt safe, felt cared for. Like, everything was going to be okay. Everything was going to be okay.
The crime scene investigators encountered told a fairly clear tale of what had gone on. The murder weapons were there, along with the bloody clothes Ashlee wore during the killings. She took 2 showers and left the house at 1625 Highway C, having made absolutely no attempt to hide evidence or clean anything. At first, she fought extradition, but finally relented and found herself back in Wisconsin and in Oneida County Court on April 24, 2015, a full 6 weeks after the murders. She was charged with 2 counts of first-degree homicide and 3 counts of kidnapping. Judge Michael Bloom set bond at $750,000. Prosecutors remained steadfast in their belief that Cisco had no part in the killings. However, he did find himself facing statutory rape charges and the probability he would need to testify against Ashlee. He told detectives that he had been messaged by Jennifer Ayers that Saturday morning. Dan replied to the message, he said. However, he didn't receive a response. After they had started on the road to Tennessee, Dan said that he spoke to his mother by phone and she alerted him to the news back in Wisconsin. Since Ashlee was driving, he used her cell phone to search for information and learned then that she was wanted in connection with the death of her parents. Dan Cisco reached a plea deal in May of 2016, requiring that he cooperate fully in Ashlee's prosecution, which would result in the misdemeanor charge of sex with a child over 16 being dismissed. Ashlee pleaded not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect in September of 2015, but subsequently withdrew it when reaching a plea deal in March of 2016. The 3 false imprisonment charges were dropped and she pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree intentional homicide. Ashlee's defense team requested an 8-year prison term. Although it may have seemed lenient to some, the defense team found it appropriate given the circumstances. A lengthy packet documenting Ashlee's tumultuous childhood and evidence of continued abuse was distributed in the court that day. The Oneida County District Attorney requested 40 years in prison. On June 10, 2016, Ashlee Martinson, by then 18 years old, was sentenced to 23 years in prison, with 17 years of probation. She can expect to be released when she is 40. A post-conviction relief motion was filed, but denied, and her sentence stands. Her public defenders intend to continue to exhaust all avenues of appeal and foresee arguing the length of her sentence before the Court of Appeals and possibly the state Supreme Court if necessary, in search of a lesser sentence. So, we'll see how that goes. Ashlee conducted an interview via several visits and phone calls with Crime Watch Daily, where she expressed her hope that one day she could explain to her sisters why she did what she did. She still says she feels free, although she's incarcerated.
I'm not a monster. I never meant any of this to happen. It doesn't make it right what happened. I'm happy. And I know this sounds crazy because I'm in prison, but I feel like I'm free. I can wake up every day and know that I'm safe.
Her sisters wrote impact statements expressing their fear of Ashlee, one writing that she hopes that she stays in jail until she rots. I'm not sure if I've ever actually said this on the show, but if we properly secured our firearms, perhaps the kids in our lives wouldn't look to them as viable options to solve their problems. The concept of out of sight, out of mind could fit here, don't you think? Logically speaking, what child could carry out a violent scenario with a gun? if they couldn't actually get their hands on one. I am fully aware that many of us live in areas where households have guns and whose children are educated as to firearm safety. But what about your neighbor's kids, your niece, your nephew, or your children's friends who come over to play? But I've already digressed. This episode isn't about gun control. Honestly, you're going to notice a few crazy coincidences between these two stories. Their hobbies, their weapons, their confessions, and subsequent unearthing of further details. This episode was supposed to be about
a girl, an abused girl, who was forced to make a really bad decision.
an abused girl, in her own words, who'd had enough of the pain that had been her childhood. As I researched and read and looked for details, I came across an interesting tidbit that before Ashlee Vamp Chick Martinson lived in that house of horrors at 1625 Highway C in the town of Piehl, Wisconsin, another troubled child turned murderous minor had lived there too, almost 2 decades before the Ayers family. Back on April 6, 1998, Ashlee Martinson was theoretically celebrating her 1-month birthday and would not move to Wisconsin for 15 more years. She spent her early years in her mom's hometown in Kansas. At that time, a 14-year-old young man named Jesse Halverson resided in the residence at 1625 Highway C. He had a best friend who was also 14 named Dustin Polinski. On that day, baby Ashlee's 1-month birthday, tragedy struck the family who lived at 1625 Highway C for the first time, but absolutely not the last time by any means. On April 6, 1998, 14-year-old best friends Jesse and Dustin were over at Dustin's house. The pair were playing with guns when the rifle Jesse was holding went off, striking Dustin in the head. Jesse didn't render aid or call for help. Instead, he placed the rifle in Dustin's hands and goes home. The initial cause of death is suicide. Newspaper reports state that the following day, his sister had said she told him to stop shooting birds with his BB gun. He then turned it on her in a threatening manner. When confronted, Jesse now explained that the shooting was an accident, that he had pointed it at Dustin and pulled the trigger, but that he hadn't realized the rifle was loaded. He was arrested and charged with 1 count recklessly causing a death, carrying with it a term of up to 40 years. On April 24, 1998, he bonded out as investigators expanded their search for evidence to include the Halverson residence at 1625 Highway C, along with his locker at Three Lakes School. What they found turned this whole case on its head for the second time. Inside that home was a letter written by Halverson and addressed to Polinski that read, "We're going to kill you. Watch out or die." It was dated the previous winter, yet had remained undelivered. More alarmingly, however, was the top-secret notebook recovered containing a page with the phrase, "Dustin dies." There was also a weird list of rules consisting of kill teacher, don't do homework, ignore principal, do what you want, beat chance, kill Dustin. Violent and graphic drawings were in there too, showing some political figures of the time along with rival NFL team members. Inside his locker, a hand-drawn, rudimentary map with crude drawings of both Dustin's skeleton and bicycle was found. The charge against Jesse was upgraded to murder on May 1, 1998, and he was ordered remanded back into custody. The following week, his attorney asked for bail, and a motion to try the case in juvenile court was filed. In 1998, Wisconsin law required juveniles aged 14 and up to be tried in adult court automatically for a charge of first-degree intentional homicide. In early December of 1998, a 3-judge appeals court panel determined that the circumstances of Jesse's crime failed to meet the requirements for juvenile court, saying the facts alleged by the prosecution depict a cold-blooded killing of a child, premeditated long before the shooting and followed by an attempt to make it appear as suicide. Under these aggravating circumstances, transferring jurisdiction